Hey everyone, it's Friday, April 15th, 2022. I'm J.M. Padini, the Development Director for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws and the Executive Director of your state chapter, Virginia NORML. It's time for another episode of Live with Virginia NORML, where we will, as always, discuss all things cannabis in the Commonwealth and answer your burning questions live. Friends, it's been a minute. It's been like 2 weeks since we got to hang out on a Friday and talk about stuff. So I'm excited to be back. Drop some comments in the chat so we can all say hello. I know you all want to ask questions about this amendment. Wow, that's something. Hey, Mike, good to see you. Hey, Bridge, good to see you too. Thanks for the welcome back. Let's talk about some good news first. So Governor Yonkin, as we told you he would, did sign the two medical omnibus bills by Senator Siobhan Donovan and Delegate Roxanne Robinson. Those bills will take effect on July 1, and that will end the requirement that patients register with the Board of Pharmacy in order to shop at dispensaries in Virginia. So I hope everyone is super relieved about that. There's a backlog of about 8,000 medical cannabis patient applications in Virginia. So that'll be a big relief to those people who've been waiting a really long time, upwards of 60 days, to get their medical cannabis cards or emails from the Board of Pharmacy allowing them to shop. Now, you'll still be able to get a card if you want one. You'll just go through the same process where you apply and pay your $50, and then you can get a card if you want one, but you won't need one. So, hope you like that. Hey, thanks, Fonz. Hi, Christy. Good to see you. Stanley, I don't know what the laws are in Mississippi, but there's a website for that. You just go to norml.org, click on state laws, click on Mississippi. You can see it all there, my friend. Oh, hey, James. Good to see you. All right, so I know what you all really want to talk about. This Governor Yonkin's proposal to recriminalize personal possession of cannabis. Now, I'm sure if you were to ask him, he'd say that's not what he meant, but that's how it's written. The way it's written is, again, not specific enough. So possession on his person or in any public place of up to 1 ounce of marijuana would be legal for adults 21 and older. Then over 1 ounce and up to 2 would be a $25 civil penalty. And then from 2 ounces up to 6 ounces, that'd be a class 2 misdemeanor. Yeah, class 2. That comes with jail time. A class 2 misdemeanor is punishable by up to 6 months in jail and or $1,000 fine. Now, if you have over 2 ounces, over 6 ounces. So 2 to 6 is the class 2, and then 6 ounces to 1 pound would be a class 1 misdemeanor. That's punishable by 12 months in jail and or a $2,500 fine. And then possession at over 1 pound would be a felony, as it is today. So currently on his person or in any public place, over 1 ounce and up to 16 ounces is a $25 civil fine. This would impose 2 new misdemeanors. And the problem with that is the way it's written. It could absolutely pertain to one who is in possession of their legally cultivated cannabis at home for personal use. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Good times. Fonz, why not just make 5 pounds class 4 misdemeanor? Yeah, they really do want to have a misdemeanor in there between the civil penalty and the felony. People are getting all worked up that there's a section of code in Virginia that goes from civil penalty to felony. And so the way Senator Evans' bill, SB 391 from this past legislative session would have handled that, would have put in a misdemeanor in between, but it also would have clarified that what you cultivated legally at home for personal use, you would be able to possess legally at home. This substitute fails to do that. It's just another way to criminalize consumers while codifying loopholes for businesses to take advantage of them. What the bill also does, unlike Senator Hanger's original version, which didn't criminalize synthetics, it just said, hey, if you're going to sell synthetic weed, you need to be regulated. This bill would outright ban the sale of, quote, synthetic Delta 8, but nothing else. So you'd still be able to retail Delta 7, Delta 10, whatever other isomers are out there. Yeah. And you consumers will have no idea because there's no obligation that these products be labeled that they're synthetic or what they contain at all. Milligrams, none of that. Just sell you whatever, have fun buying it, and figuring it out at home. Also, it would create a giant loophole for big businesses, because that's who this bill's really for, to wholesale whatever synthetics they want. I know. So painful. I shine a little light on these things and, speak honestly about what the legislation really says and why it does what it does. Hey, Maryland NORML. Good to see you. Could be Charlie. Could be. That would be if the substitute passes. Now, I've spoken with a number of members of the legislature have called me super concerned about this amendment. They don't like it. They liked the bill that they passed before. They're confused as to why this bill is worded the way it does and why it does what it does. They don't like it. I don't blame them. Mike? Hey, Mike. Well, Mike, if you're a medical patient, you can shop at dispensaries now. If you're not a medical patient and you're 21 or older, other adults can share cannabis with you, up to 1 ounce in private. Or you can cultivate cannabis for personal use at home, up to 4 plants per household. And if none of those things apply to you, then you're out of luck. You can go to the gas station and buy whatever that stuff is and see what happens. Have fun. Hi, Yadi in Texas, and hello, Marty in Illinois. Good to see everyone. Good to see everyone. All right, so some really great things from the administration on medical and some really terrible things from the administration as it relates to adult use. Look, Rhonda knows what she's talking about. Yeah, sure could. Now, I'm sure that's not the intent of this new misdemeanor. I'm sure the intent of this misdemeanor is to prohibit unlawful sale of cannabis, except anyone who can read knows that there's a different section of code for possession with intent to distribute, and it's not the personal possession section. But that's where these penalties are. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes, that's true today, and that would be true regardless of the substitute or not. Absolutely. Don't drive around with pounds in your car. Yeah, Paul, Schumer does have a bill in the Senate. Let's see what happens with that. Rhonda, how likely is the amendment to pass? Sorry, Ted, I'll read your questions. Rhonda wants to know how likely the amendment is to pass. I guess you can see that one. And I think it's a little too early to hedge a bet on that. I can tell you that the original bill passed unanimously in the Senate, and there were only 7 no votes on the bill, the underlying bill in the House. So members really liked the original version of this bill. I think when they find out that the amendment doesn't do what they wanted it to do, I think they're not going to like it. Yeah, it is. It really is. It's not written for you. It's not written for consumers. It's written to make sure there's loopholes for people to make money on you and not have to tell you what they're selling you. Yum. Oh, hey, Erica. Erica, thanks for asking about retail cannabis licensing. Nope, not this year. The legislation that would have allowed that to happen failed when it received no actual hearing in the House of Delegates, a little sort of pretend one. It was carried over to next year, but that's not going to be the bill that succeeds next year. What we have to do when we come back in 2023 and try to tackle for the 3rd session in a row, when we try to tackle retail cannabis for adult use, we need to do it with a bunch of very skinny bills. This means bills that don't have a lot. They're not 300 pages long. They're just a few pages and address essentially single issues or just a little chunky issues. We can't go marching into the 2023 session in Virginia with these 300-page bills and lobbing those at the House of Delegates and going, okay, now you go. And remember, we're going to be in a short session next year. So it's going to be even more important that we have skinny bills. Hey, Roger, I am so glad you brought that up. There are a lot of events happening next week. One of them is Roger will have a NORML table at Parkway Brewery on 420. So if you're out in the Roanoke area, head on over to Parkway, say hi to Roger, get some awesome socks. I said socks, that's right. Yeah, check it out. There are number of events happening next week, of course, because it is the month where everyone else remembers that cannabis policy is a thing and they want to talk about it. The National Cannabis Festival is next week in Washington, D.C., as is the National Cannabis Policy Summit. Tickets are still available for both of those. Make sure you get yours. Just head to nationalcannabisfestival.com. Oh, look at you, Cassidy. Thank you, Cruel Consequences, for dropping that in there as well. Appreciate you and Roger being on top of this. Tamra with Virginia NORML and Cruel Consequences, Portraits of Misguided Law, will be at Benchtop Brewery in Norfolk on April 23rd and 24th. So if you're down in the Hampton Roads area and you don't want to scoot all the way up to DC for a 420 celebration, you can head over to Benchtop Brewery and have fun with Tamra. Thank you. It's called Gong Stock. Thank you for that reminder, Cassidy. Rhonda, thank you for asking. Rhonda wants to know if we have another opportunity to comment, and yes, you do. So the legislature will reconvene for veto session, as it's casually known. Will reconvene for veto session, also called Reconvened Day, on April 27th. That's in 12 days. So you have 12 days to keep sending this action alert that I can see Cassidy's getting ready to drop in the comments to you right now. We have an action alert on our website. I will tell you, friends, this is a little different than how we typically do our action alerts. We wrote 2 versions of this one so that the messaging is appropriate for the person to whom you are sending it. So don't be surprised. There are 2 versions for this one. All you have to do is click on one link. It'll take you right to that action alert. Click, send, done. Boom. Yeah. Ooh. I want to check that out, Cassidy. Let's do that. Why does it have a 2 at the end? Look at that, everyone. You have sent 473 letters already. This has only been up since yesterday afternoon. Wow. You all are amazing. I love it. I love it so much. That's fantastic. I'm going to peek in there right now. I'm going to have a little look under the hood. Let's look at some of the stats on this bad boy. Wow. I didn't even email that out to our list yet, and you all got right on top of that action alert. I love it so much. Who's getting these emails? Bill D stuff, you're getting a lot of these emails. I love it. This is great. Senator Suderline's getting a lot of these emails. Senator Hashmi's getting a lot of these emails. This is good stuff. Senator Hanger got 11 of them. He's out there talking about this amendment like it's a good thing, like he compromised. This is not a good thing. Not at all. Senator Boysko, I see you got a handful. I love this. You guys are doing excellent work. Keep sending that action alert. Keep sharing that action alert. Make sure members of the General Assembly know that you do not support recriminalizing people who are responsibly possessing cannabis. Make sure they know that. Make sure they know that you also want to know what's in the package. Hey, speaking of that terrifying bit of information, oh, Cassidy, I don't know if I actually put it on here or not. I didn't, so I have to quietly sneak this link over to Cassidy. We haven't talked about it yet, but oh goodness, Cassidy, here comes this link for you. I'm just going to sneak it right into the very, very top of the script. You'll get it. Here it is. There you go. Listen, friends, you might have already seen this. It was published, I don't know, like 5 hours ago. In Stafford, 3 toddlers, 1-year-olds, 3 toddlers were taken to the hospital when their parents noticed that they were lethargic and had bloodshot eyes after they picked them up from daycare. So sheriffs go to this home-based daycare, and they notice there's a bunch of goldfish crackers on the ground under the high chairs. And so they pick up the goldfish crackers and they have them tested. And oh, yes, that's right. They contain THC. Now, these went to the crime lab. And the crime lab is much more limited in its ability to test. So they don't yet know what kind of THC these crackers had on them. My suspicion is synthetic. But hopefully we'll find out. But listen, when products are out there on shelves, they're not labeled accurately, things like this happen. In Virginia, if a legal adult use cannabis product were being sold today, each individual serving would have to carry a designation that it contains THC. Obviously, these goldfish crackers are not a product that would ever be allowed to be sold in a regulated cannabis program, medical or adult use in Virginia, because it's a shape that's appealing to children, and it's not stamped or otherwise designated on each individual serving that it contains THC. Trying to catch up on your comments, friends. Oh, thank you, Keisha. I do try to be right. Thank you, Rick, for sending that action alert. I really appreciate it. Charlie Charlie wants to know who in the world needs infused goldfish. I don't know, but it wasn't 3 toddlers. It's terrifying. Yeah, so hopefully we'll find out a little bit more about that story as the investigation progresses. But yeah, products like that just don't belong on the shelves, and they certainly don't belong on shelves that don't require age verification. Goodness gracious. All right, what else? What other things have been happening? We didn't get to hang out last week. Did that story come out before last week? Yeah, it sure did. So we probably talked about the Virginia Mercury article, Cassidy, the one I'm looking at. Recreational marijuana still is illegal in Virginia, and medical patients face access challenges over at Virginia Mercury. That was a good piece. Listen, what I really want people to do is keep sending that action alert. Yeah, so what other burning questions do you have this week, friends? Tell us what you're doing for 420. Drop that in the comments now. Let us know how you're going to celebrate. Hey, we are putting together a great few pieces of information for you that'll be on the NORML website next week. While 420 is a great day for people to celebrate the progress we've made, hopefully in your state, if not here in the United States, when it comes to ending failed policies of marijuana prohibition, it's also a really important day of action. And as much as it's a day of celebration, we at NORML hope for all of you that it is in fact a day of action. And just as we always do, we'll make that super easy for you on 420 to click and share and make sure you are doing something to help us finish the fight and legalize America. Trisha, what about Iowa? Trisha wants to know, what about Iowa and when something's going to be done there? Trisha, are you part of a NORML chapter in Iowa? If not, you should start one. Steve, NORML, what do you mean it is? Well, Steve, marijuana is legal in Virginia, but not in the rest of the United States. Hey, Rick. Rick wants to know, if I visit a practitioner now and get a letter, will it be good without a card after July 1st? Yes. Yes. Your written certification from a registered practitioner, that runs on its own cycle. It has to be valid. It's generally valid for a year. That's when it will definitely expires, after 1 year. And that is not connected to the date that a card is issued. So if it's time for you to get your certificate renewed now and you do so, it'll still be valid for an entire year, just as it would any other time. Hey, Cassidy, thanks for reminding me. If you're watching from somewhere other than Virginia and you'd like to start a NORML chapter, wherever you are, anywhere in the world, shoot us an email at chapters@norml.org. That's chapters@norml.org. Hey, Jackson. Jackson is asking for regulations on private possession amounts of the 4 plants harvested. Well, Jackson, Virginia code still doesn't say anything about that. We tried to clean up that code section with Senator Evans' SB 391. That bill did not advance when it made its way into the House of Delegates. So, Virginia code doesn't address that. Virginia code does address what adults 21 and older may possess on his person or in any public place, which is up to 1 ounce of marijuana. Now, the substitute that Governor Yonkin has proposed to Senator Hanger's SB 591 takes it a step further and includes 2 new misdemeanors for personal possession of cannabis. From 2 ounces to 6 ounces would be a class 2 misdemeanor. And from 6 ounces to 1 pound, it would be a class 1 misdemeanor. Happy Friday, Ryan. Happy Friday. Steve, thanks for clarifying. Steve asks if Virginia is still on track for 2024 retail sales. Virginia's not on track for anything anymore because we didn't pass any bills this year. Yeah, so Steve, thanks for asking. What will have to happen is in 2023, the next opportunity we would have to do this, in the 2023 General Assembly, the legislature would have to approve a bill to issue licenses, to direct the Cannabis Control Authority to issue licenses for adult use retail cannabis. And they could do this through 2 ways. They could do this by licensing new businesses and by allowing the existing dispensaries that sell medical to start selling to adults 21 and older. 2 ways to do this, which is typically what states do. Here's the thing. So if such a bill passes in 2023, it's not going to pass with the supermajority required for an emergency enactment, meaning it can take effect as soon as the governor signs it. That's not going to happen. Legalization doesn't have that type of support in this legislature. So if a bill to allow licensing of new businesses and sales to begin, if that succeeded, it would take effect on July 1, 2023 at the earliest. Now, sure, that might open the doors at medical dispensaries to adults 21 and older who aren't registered patients. That part could happen in 2023. But as far as new businesses, think about it. The law takes effect on July 1. Maybe the Cannabis Control Authority is like a little bit prepared for that. Chances are they aren't. And then they've got to ramp up quickly to be able to accept applications, review applications, and allow these businesses to be constructed, to become operational, and to have product available. So that really, really makes it difficult to hit a January 1, 2024 timeline for new businesses to begin retailing to adult consumers. Thanks for asking, Steve. Yeah, maybe, Marcy, but that's not what Virginians keep voting for. Nicole, I'm going to put your question up here. I'm going to read it. Nicole has always wondered, with under the adult use laws, you can have up to 1 ounce in public, but under the medical program, you can purchase up to a 90-day supply and can have up to 4 ounces of cannabis, botanical cannabis. Boy, I love when the lights stay on in this office. Here we go. 30 more minutes of light because I waved my hand. 4 ounces. So if you're a medical patient, does that mean you could technically carry more than 1 ounce? Like if you were going from the dispensary to home? Yes, Nicole, it does. And the reason is this. It's a very specific type that you could have up to 4 ounces of. Now, Medical patients aren't entitled by law to cultivate at home and then walk around with 4 ounces of personally cultivated cannabis. What they are allowed to do is purchase up to 4 ounces of botanical cannabis from a medical dispensary and have that on them. The reason is the way it's defined in code. Medical cannabis products in code are called cannabis oil and botanical cannabis. And that lives over in its own section of code in 54.1. And then there are the definitions for marijuana and retail marijuana products. And that's in 4.1. So that is different. These medical products are legally different than just regular marijuana. So yes, registered medical cannabis patients who purchase in Virginia are allowed to purchase up to a 90-day supply of cannabis oil and up to 4 ounces of botanical cannabis. And they're legally allowed to possess that. That is clear in code and is not impacted by legalization or adult use laws because they're legally different products. George, I'm so glad you asked this question. George wants to know, does the governor's amendment, the governor's proposed amendment to SB 591, up the limit to 2 ounces in public? No, it doesn't. What it does is starts a new misdemeanor at 2 ounces and a new misdemeanor at 6 ounces. So up to 1 ounce in public would be legal for adults 21 and older to possess. And then from 1 ounce, over 1 ounce up to 2 ounces, that would be subject to a $25 civil penalty. And then currently it's from 1 ounce to 16 ounces is a $25 civil penalty. His amendment, 1 ounce to 2 ounce civil penalty. 2 ounces, new misdemeanor, carries jail time and a fine. When you get to 6 ounces, another new misdemeanor. So 6 ounces to 16 ounces, another misdemeanor. It does not up the limit. I've seen people ask that question. I understand why they're thinking of it, but no, it doesn't. It's just a way, way worse than current law. Yes, Nicole, specifically botanical cannabis from a medical dispensary is still 4 ounces for a patient. Joshua wants to know if the amendment is poorly written enough to mean that you could get a felony for what's growing on your plant. So no, not necessarily. While it's on your plant itself, that's pretty clearly on the plant. And so on the plant, you're allowed to cultivate up to 4 plants per household for personal use. Once you harvest it, the code is so poorly written that one could potentially be considered not in compliance with that for possessing what they legally grew, their harvest. In the amendment, that would be over 2 ounces and over 6 ounces. Whereas right now, you're not really in any particular jeopardy until you get up to 1 pound, and then it's a felony. Steve wants to know if the penalty would include confiscation. It probably would if it's a crime. Marcy's got jokes. It says punishable by fine means legal for a price. Unfortunately, that price today is $25. So, yeah. Yeah, Joshua, you're right. Joshua says 1 pound from 4 plants is definitely doable. And, I guess if people are good at growing plants, then they're going to get a good harvest. And current code is problematic as it is. We don't need to make it worse with this amendment. So again, send an action alert. just say no to this amendment and make sure you are sharing it with everyone you know. Ask them to send it to. Next week, we'll send out an action alert to our email list. You can get on that at normal.org/subscribe. Make sure you put your zip code in there so you're getting the right action alerts. Oh, listen, I love this time we spend together. I mostly love when we get to talk about great, super fun, neato, cool things, and not terrible public policy like this. But here we are. Remember when we were working on legalization, you sent 9,000 emails to our legislature in support of legalizing cannabis for adults 21 and older on July 1st, 2021, and that's what we did. Now it's time to do the same thing. Jump on this action alert, say no, get it done. Rick Parrish, you were very correct. Probably wouldn't even leave you. Yeah, absolutely. Probably would not leave you with your legal ounce. Hey, Patricia, good to see you. What's going to make these regulations more equitable for the green market and racially just for those who've suffered to get us to this tenuous balance? What regulations? We don't have any. What's going to ensure that Virginians have a new cannabis marketplace for adult use that's fair and just? Well, it's not who Virginians are electing, I can tell you that much, Patricia. Y'all got to vote better. If a fair and just market is your objective, got to vote better. You're not going to get that in the next iteration of legalization. If we pass anything in 23, it's going to be barely palatable. I can assure you of that. Hey, Nicole, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, in good news, New Jersey is in fact slated to start adult use sales next week. Congratulations, New Jersey. Must be nice to have a functional government. Hi, Vicky. I'm so happy to see you here, friend. And now that Vicky's here, I'm going to leave. Hey, before I leave, let's all wish my mom a happy birthday. Feel free to drop that in the comments. Whatever emoji you like. Something birthday related would be super neat. Happy birthday, Mom. What is NORML doing to make it more equitable for all? Asks Patricia. More equitable how? As far as business goes, I'll remind everyone that NORML is not a business association. What NORML does is ensure the rights of responsible consumers and that they aren't treated like second-class citizens. We're the only organization here that's fighting for consumers and looking out for them. There's plenty of organizations out there that are fighting for who gets to make a buck first or next off the backs of consumers, and that's not us. Now, as far as how do we help, we provide in-depth policy analyses and share with our legislators what's working around the country and what isn't. We also provide you all with the Smoke the Vote voter guide to legalizing marijuana in your state so that you know where people stand before you step into that voting booth. But listen, at the end of the day, Virginians are going to vote for who they're going to vote for. And if you elect people that don't care about that, there's not a whole lot we can do. Thank you, Liz. Oh, Liz, I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Megan. Thanks, everyone. Oh my gosh. We do, Vicky, we do need a reasonable government. We sure do. Cannabis policy just isn't a priority for half of our legislature or for the administration. And you all are going to have to endure that until you elect people who care. Hey, Christopher, good to see you. I know, Patricia, we are preaching to the choir in this room. Christopher, you got jokes, my friend. It is 2022. We tried to get it right. We didn't get it anywhere this year. In fact, we're trying to take a step backward, or at least the administration's trying to make you take a step backward. So, friends, before I go, I will leave you with this final plea to please send the action alert in opposition to the amendment proposed by the governor to Senate Bill 591. It is a steaming hot pile of trash written specifically to protect industry that takes advantage of consumers while criminalizing you. Yes, Vicki. Elections do have consequences. And here we are. Experience them. Oh, yeah, Brian. Except if you look at the amendment, they're superly against it. They're trying to criminalize personal possession. Whew. Patricia, may you quote me? It depends on what it is. Feel free to shoot me an email, friend. All right, everyone. I hope you have a nice weekend. If you celebrate Easter, happy Easter. If you celebrate Passover, enjoy your Passover. If you just like chocolate or eggs or great bread, enjoy those things. Enjoy the pollinating. Enjoy wading through the sea of yellow dust that is undoubtedly all over your car at this moment. I think, Patricia, I said a pile of steaming hot garbage, something like that. It's not good. All right, everyone, have a great weekend. I will see you back here next Friday. Next Friday is the National Cannabis Policy Summit, so you should be able to watch that live stream wherever you are. I'll try to pop on for a minute here sometime during the day and do a little live, but next week is a big week for all things cannabis in the United States, so buckle up and enjoy. And as Rick says, celebrate 420. Most importantly, be sure you take action on that day. All right, friends. I'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.